Welcome already to another edition of WCW 2006 here in W 2020, but of course we're not WCW, as you can see by the screen here. As is tradition, I'm taking over the AI for the booking of Mania and SummerSlam. So we got WrestleMania 22 live from Ford Field in Detroit, Michigan. They're going back to stadiums a month early, in part because, this is a version of reality where wrestling's a little hotter, thanks to WCW being around. And also, I booked Allstate Arena in Chicago for my last show. And then I realized that's where Mania was. And well, I don't mind it because competition, as we've seen in real life currently with the companies, but WD would lock up Allstate Arena for months before that show. So, plus Detroit's close enough that makes sense, and plus a year early to go back to stadiums since they were only really out of stadiums for a couple years there. And I figure, a little more popular, so why not? But anyway, we got a big show here, which I'll go over totally in a minute. But we got a big main event as Chris Jericho tries to take the world title off of Shawn Michaels. Edge returning to take on Chris Benoit and Regal. Kane versus Taker once again. A four-way match for the IC title. Billy Gunn versus Scott Steiner, of course. Mick Foley versus Justice in an Asylum match. A brand Supremacy match as CM Punk and Skyfall Lyon of DX 2.0 take on Streets of Suburbs. And the Playboy Battle Royal and much, much more. So get rolling with the show itself. And we have a little bit over 60,000. And we start out on the pre-show with the return of X-Pac coming back from, I think, rehab. And he comes back with a new gimmick, which is Underdog. It only gets a 16. Let's ignore this. But we have then our pre-show Battle Royal, a.k.a., everybody on the match who I think would get upset in real life. And we have we got people like Andy Jacobs and Albert, Big Show, who's our most over guy who didn't have a big match, Charlie Haas, Chucky T and Robbie C of the Club Crew, Crash Holly, Joey Matthews, John Cena, who in this world is basically a year or two behind, Mark Henry, Matt Capitelli, Maven, etc. So Big Show won the Battle Royal in about 20 minutes. The numbers of the final four were Mark Henry, X-Pac, and Juvie Juice. So basically, X-Pac gets a little push, Juvie Juice gets also a push here. Mark Henry's the final elimination, he had the most eliminations. And let's handle some changes. Okay, nope, we're not doing that. And we are recapping some gimmick changes. So yeah, Just Incredible is also now an old school face, sure. 72, not the worst, battle royal here. But yeah. And then you have our opening video, basically, your standard WrestleMania opening video, focusing on the big matches, Foley versus Justice in Asylum match, Taker Kane, the big triple threat, which is Benoit Regal, the 4-way IC title match, and of course the main event of Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, as this gets an 85 for our opening video. And then, for opening match is going to be the triple threat match, as it's Edge, Benoit and Regal comes out, and then Alter Bridge plays Metalingus to bring out Edge, and that gets a 73, and then we're on to our actual match here. So yeah, as you can see, this is Edge, Benoit, Regal. So the thing here is that Edge was the world champion through most of the fall. He lost the title in a triple threat at Armageddon. Then in game, his contract ran out and he didn't resign for whatever reason. Actually resigned New Japan, but again, I realism over the game sometimes, so I ended that. Then he came back. But before that, Benoit had been part of that triple threat where Shawn Michaels won the title back. Then, at the Royal Rumble, Benoit and Regal fought off. And then, they were sort of the quasi top of the feud along with Regal, Taker, and Gladiator. And Edge showed up a couple weeks ago as, they were fighting at the Mountain's return and showed up for this match. And this is a pretty, good back and forth triple threat opening main event. Unfortunately, our announcers are pretty not great. The WrestleMania announcers are Michael Cole, because Jim Ross is with me now in WCW, Taz, who's retired, unofficial color commentator, and Jim Cornette. But, this is a very good match. It's Edge, it's Benoit and Regal in 2006, and Regal is still a very solid worker here. And it's back and forth, but in the end, Edge gets the win, defeating Benoit with a spear in the missile dropkick here. And this gets a 81. Unfortunately, we had a announcing bad roll, and then Cornette, Taz, and Cole are just not that great. But, Regal gets an 87, Benoit gets a 92, Edge gets a 96. Edge basically, this is basically would have been Benoit Regal if Edge was back earlier, he didn't resign. So Edge does, the win here. Let's see, dirt sheet wise. So yeah. So basically we got a slight ding for all the just bad announcers, but then also they rolled bad on announcing. And Benoit and Regal have low morale and poor gimmicks, but hey, I don't care about that. Post-match, Edge celebrates, as the Undertaker's put over. Edge is back in WWE, and he is aiming right at that World Championship. Next match is a big singles match as Scott Steiner takes on Billy Gunn. To sort of go over this, way back, so Billy Gunn, lost the title back in September, the IC title. So at that point, the Gunn Club, which he had set up, was over. He and Scott Steiner put in a triple threat with Shawn Michaels, which I'm going to retcon as being for the number one contendership. HBK was entered into the match, and then they started battling along with random tag matches, and you can sort of see the, promos and the angles these would go after each other. Debra has been with Billy Gunn for a while, ever since the the new team angle broke up and Billy Gunn took over as the Gunn Club, but now it's just Billy Gunn with Debra, and, this is a perfectly solid match. These guys aren't, well, okay, I mean, Billy Gunn's still, I guess, on TV in 2023, but, 2006, Billy Gunn and 2006, Scott Steiner are not good at all, but in this reality, they're still, solid. They're not main event level anymore. I mean, I'm sure in the game they'll get random 95s after this, but this is a very solid match. Back and forth. Debra tries to interfere. Steiner is still able to get the win, lock on the Steiner recliner, and make Billy Gunn tap out to a big win at WrestleMania. As this gets a 70 overall, nothing fancy here. Just two, mid-carders, upper mid-carders fighting, and Steiner gets the win here, honestly, because I wanted to give him the win. Gunn gets a 68, Steiner gets a 73, 70 overall. Let's see here. Gunn has a legendary gimmick. And yeah, lack of heat, but Gunn and Steiner were holding back. Oh, right, this is my storytelling. So storytelling is, basically Debra trying to get involved, but she messes up. And after that, 70, so not a bad match, but not a terrible match either. Billy Gunn takes the mic and says, the Gunn Club is over, and Debra, I'm no longer required of your services, because this is Billy Gunn on his own. Debra gets upset, but, Billy Gunn, says some 2006 style insults to her, and move on. As this gets to 71, and there we go. Next up is the tag title match, and here's the thing. This is nothing fancy. Basically, APA, are the four-time tag champs now. They're sort of like the last, tag team remaining, along with since Texas and Albert broke up. But what happened here is basically, they had put them at APA Invitational. The Samoan Gangster Party basically made their debut, won the Battle Royal, and then attacked APA. And now this match is on for the tag titles. And here's the thing. This is just a wild-ass brawl right from the start, or car crash. It only goes a couple minutes, and eventually the Samoan Gangster Party gets DQ'd, as basically they just, bring in, Kane's chairs and just wallop the APA with it. Eventually the ref calls for the bell. This only goes about 4 minutes, and yeah, it's kind of a mess, but it's a mess that's supposed to be happen, as the APA win by DQ, but Samoan Gangster Party lay them out. This gets a 70. JBL gets an 88. He's sort of wasted, but he turned face, and then the game was really booking him. So I figured this would be, the game thrown back with the APA, which probably means I should end this after this, because Farouk is cooked. I mean, he gets a 59, but he's, old. Someone gets a 39, Epo gets a 64. Unfortunately, they don't click as a team. Sure. Okay. 70 overall, largely, thanks to JBL. And then post-match, basically, ECMO and LA just destroyed the APA. And Rick Steiner, who's, basically a quasi-member of the APA, because he tagged with them for a little bit, in some random tags in six-man, so I decided to put him a member of the APA. He comes out, he gets his ass kicked too, and the Youngsters basically put over that this might be the end of the APA, as they have to give the tag titles, as, they basically have to be helped to the back, as Samoan Gangster Party, celebrate, they didn't win the titles, but they won the war here at WrestleMania. And then before the next match, the women's title match, Jacqueline comes down to be the special commentator. Jacqueline retired and came in as a commentator with decent stats, and she was on Heat for a while. So yeah, here she is as a commentator for the women's title match. Yeah. You know how you sometimes risk things and it doesn't go well? Well, this is a disaster. I mean, okay. I mean, it's not that bad because this is, this is Sportscenter fed, so you can do basically anything in the undercard as long as the main event is good. So, two problems with this match. First of all, this was the worst of the recent matches, and they had been gone together 5 times thanks to AI booking. So this only gets a 25. Angel Square gets a 66. Ivory gets a 64. The setup is basically Angel Square randomly won the belt off of Jackie Gata. I was planning for her to win the title at Mania. as she's like, been decently pushed, but she just randomly won the titles. And then she lost the title in a 4-way involving Ivory. So then Lyon Oscura, who's Sarah Stock, aka Sarita, just won the titles again. And, and won the 4-way to earn the title shot. And there we go. This goes 8 minutes. Legendary Angel Oscura eventually beats Ivory with a roll-up. I'm assuming the crowd's completely dead for this, unfortunately. But they both do well, so that's at least good. So yeah, I mean, unfortunate. But Angel Oscura celebrates with the title, and her gimmick's getting stale, which I'll fix. Well, I can't fix it because I'm not doing any more shows with. So, well, okay. Just for the sake of the game here, I'm going to do something real quick. Okay, and next match is Batista versus Vampiro. Of course, Batista was originally brought in this first reality as Leviathan, basically his OVW gimmick, along with the Gals of Bruja, brought on by Vampiro when he came in over from WCW, along with Kane. They were heel stable for a while. Eventually, basically Batista was handed over to Jim Cornette as he was trying to get his revenge on Brock Lesnar after Brock Lesnar, basically fired him. That ended, but then Batista was on his own on Raw. He won the IC title in the fall. Then there was a 4-way match at Armageddon, also involving Vampiro and Kane. Vampiro told both Batista and Kane to kneel and basically hand the title over to him. Again, I'm making all this stuff up just by the book of the AI. Batista and Kane both turn on him. They both turn face at that point, and but then Vampiro then screwed Batista out of the IC title after a Rumble, losing to Venis, and here we are. So that's sort of the, we have the sort of like, the hype video, which got a 68, then the actual match. And here's the thing. This isn't a squash, but this is Batista's the guy here. He gets to run over somebody, and just run over him, decent, Vampiro gets some spots in, a little bit of heel heat, but eventually, after about 10 minutes, spear, shakes the ropes, kick, wham, sit out powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. Your winner of the match is Batista. And this is a really good match. This gets an 84. Batista gets a friggin' 93. So depending on the game books he might be someone getting a really big push at SummerSlam. Vampiro gets a 75. The game unfortunately has not booked him well in WWF. Which honestly, you can see this version of the internet saying he's been wasted. The WCW pushed him, they made him world champion over, and he's just a random mid-carder now, ignoring he's Vampiro. And then Batista celebrates, which gets us a 68. Then we have our IC title 4-way. So Val Venis won the title again, which I randomly found a ping of him with the IC title, so there we go. He won the title at the Rumble, as I noted with Batista. Then some former champs such as Rikishi and Christian Kane won a rematch, and then there was more, Sheriff Steve Austin made a 4-way IC title match for Mania, and then DDP was set up in a qualifier match with Steven Richards, his off-and-on tag partner, and then DDP turned on Steve Richards, turning heel, and making this a 4-way, and this is a pretty standard, 4-way between these 4 guys. They're all solid workers, but unfortunately everybody but Christian is getting old here. Rikishi's old, Venis is old, DDP is old, so this only goes about 10 minutes. Christian basically holds it together. Back and forth match, but eventually, Rikishi, everybody sort of spots in, Venis goes up top for the money shot, he misses, DDP hits a diamond cutter, he is broken up, Rikishi gets to do his, ass spot, probably with DDP or Venis. Rikishi and Venis get to do their bump and grind as they used to be a tag team for a little bit, but eventually Christian is able to hit Val Venis with the kill switch right in the middle of the ring after Rikishi and DDP are taking over. And in about 10 minutes, your winner and new Intercontinental Champion is Christian at Mania. So he wins his third title, or third IC title. He gets a 78. Kishi gets a 64. Christian gets an 89. Venis gets a 61. DB gets a 60. And post-match, Christian celebrates as he's now a 3-time IC Intercontinental Champion, as it gets a 73. I just wanted to move it on somebody who could actually work. Because those 3 guys are all old and really shouldn't be in the mid-card, but that's the problem with the AI, right? With this version of WWE is there are young guys, but they're just putting over guys like Venis and Page still. Next up is, well, we assume is another big time match, as basically what's been going on is Lesnar got injured in January in a tag match involving Gladiator, aka Mike Awesome, who came in at the start of the year as the Undertaker's backup after he turned heel, which I'll explain later. And then, for the past couple weeks, Gladiator's been calling out, saying, show up to WrestleMania, but I know you won't because I injured you, I took you out for good. So, Gladiator's in ring doing that again. And then, big pop as Brock Lesnar comes out, and the match is on. So that part gets a 70. And the actual match is just Brock killing him. This only goes about 5 minutes. Lesnar goes right after him. Gladiator / Awesome gets a little bit of offense in. If this could happen in real life, I would have him try to do his big plancha and Lesnar just catch him and slam him into the ring post. But I don't know if those two could actually do that. They'd probably screw it up because not the two smoothest workers. But eventually, Lesnar gets Gladiator in, beats the crap out of him, hits the F5, and then just does some MMA strikes before the ref calls for the bell. As in about a little under 5 minutes, Brock Lesnar gets the win here at WrestleMania, making his return, as he gets 100, because he's the most over guy in wrestling, I think, in this version of reality, and Gladiator gets an 82, only goes 5 minutes, only gets a 73 overall. Gladiator's getting better as a gimmick. So hot new move, I guess, is MMA strikes, and then Lesnar and Gladiator have good chemistry, which I guess is good if I was continuing to book this, but hey, good for the game, I guess. And then, Brock is back, which gets a 71. So there we go. Solid stuff, Lesnar's Lesnar, so there we go. Then we have the next up is the Asylum match between Justice, aka Abyss, and Mick Foley. So the up of this is, eventually after, Justice went after the Battles of Gruja, Mick Foley came out team with him to defeat, I think it was Vampiro and Kane at SummerSlam. And then randomly, the game turned him heel at Survivor Series to lead the team. So I'm just saying, he did his real life heel character. He was I think around this time period. Basically said he's still the true king of hardcore. Justice came after him. Eventually, the Asylum match was up, which is basically just the Monsters Ball match. Unfortunately, it's not in the game, and I forgot to check that, so I'll have to so it's just set up as a street fight. But as you saw, whole Asylum match, aka Monsters Ball, no water, all that BS. And then the actual match, is that. So, it's a match set up by Foley, and then they have the actual match here, and okay. Yeah, that actually makes sense. So, fun little match here, actually not a fun little, but just complete destruction. They toss each other around, they brawl out of the ring. We get a barbed wire baseball bat. We get a bump through barbed wire or thin thumbtacks by both guys. We get, Foley sending Justice off the stage, then Foley taking a dumb bump off, onto the ramp, or on the outside through a bunch of tables. But eventually, Justice hits whatever they're calling the Black Hole Slam, this virtual reality, onto some thumbtacks. 1, 2, 3. Justice gets the big win here at WrestleMania. So overall, solid match. Goes a little under 14 minutes. At times, not some psychology, which a 2006 era Mick Foley and Abyss hardcore match probably wouldn't have the most psych. Foley still gets a 95. Justice gets a 78, gets an 83 overall. Just as hot new move. I guess he does something wacky with thumbtacks. Dirt sheet. Otherwise, let's see here. Like psychology, yes. Inconsistency, okay, sure. And then post-match, Mick Foley gets up, and, it looks like he's going to attack, but then he turns Justice around, he gives him a hum, he raises his hand. There's just a bit of wackiness, and Mick Foley's a babyface again, as this gets to 74. So again, solid stuff. That was me just making sense of the game turning him heel, and that since that made no sense, I turned back babyface. Which is sort of what happened in real life. He normally turned heel, but next time he showed up on TV, he was, lovable Mick Foley again. Then, here we have a very wacky angle. So, basically, Ludacris, who you're not seeing here because, Ludacris is not in TEW 2020, shockingly, is with some women, aka Terry Reynolds, Sterling Hall, Chantel Fierce, and Evilis Villas up from Double Mental. He's, basically doing his character from Fast and the Furious. John Cena comes up, and, he says, basically, he says, I've been working on some rhymes himself. Lucas says, okay, go ahead. And then just Cena, nails him with some rhymes about being a joke, no longer hard. You're something about, being a cotton candy ass rapper for children or whatever. John Cena would do a better job here, basically turning heel and turning into rapper John Cena. And so we do that. And then we turn him heel. And we turn to... So his rapper gimmick got him great. We'll sell a lot of merch and get a small boosted microphone, which is reality. So this gets a 46. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Very poor trying to improvise dialogue. I mean, that's just not true. Cools the crowd a little. I don't care. 46. I need to do this because I wanted him to turn heel. Because he was doing his, babyface underdog gimmick. I had him beat Venis and sort of a non-title match on SmackDown when the other part of the four-way IC title match got involved. So here we are. And next up is the recap package for the Brand Supremacy match. So to set this up, basically, on a Raw, we had a 3-on-1 beatdown of Chris Jericho of DX 2.0, which is, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and Skyfall Lyon, aka the former Air Paris. And then out of nowhere, Streets to the Suburbs, which is Homicide and Spanky, otherwise known as Carnage Carnival, and Leonardo Michael Murray came down for the save. Vince McMahon, said he was proud of their ruthless aggression, but he said says he needs to keep order, so he's about to punish them. When Sheriff Steve Austin came out and says, both these teams have nothing to do for WrestleMania, and they're both part of part of the two brands. We're on SmackDown, so let's have some brand supremacy. Vince wanted some stakes, so if Punk and Caleb win, Vince stays totally in charge, and Austin will leave. He's no longer the Sheriff Steve Austin. But if Murray and Carnival win, Vince is still the chairman, but there's now going to be a commissioner of Raw and commissioner of SmackDown that he cannot overrule. So that recap package is the 74. Then this very ROH-ass match, except, instead of Colt Cabana, I guess it's Air Paris, happens. And it is it is basically, oh, hey, WrestleMania 22 had one really good match on it outside the main event. And that's what this is. This goes about 18 minutes and I don't say it's a spot fest, but it's basically because actually McMahon and Austin are also down at ringside, and they have their little spots, but then basically McMahon trying to get interfered for Lyon on Punk, but, Austin, pulls him away. Austin drinks some beers at ringside, throws Carnival a chair to use on Punk. Punk comes back. This band tries to get involved, going after Spanky, but, I don't know, Spanky gets a spot on him, maybe. But eventually, Street Suburbs get the win as Marie is able to hit Lyon with the Slice Bridge number 2, which I'm sure has a WWE name, and gets a big pinfall win, which means that Vince McMahon is still the chairman, but there will now be commissioners of Raw and SmackDown, as this gets an 83. Good stuff. Lyon went with an 83, Punk with an 84, Spanky with a 90, Carnage Carnival with 75. Good stuff, 83 overall. And post-match, we have, honestly, a help the show get a better rating segment, as, Vince is upset. Austin talks to him, tries to calm him down. Says, come on. As a token of appreciation of you agreeing to the terms, let's have a beer. Vince, of course, is a heel, so he's kind of dumb. So he accepts it, and eventually, bam! Stunner! Crash! Crowd pops, and Vince is laid out, and the is put over. Vince McMahon will now have people in charge of Raw and SmackDown. He cannot overrule. 97, solid stuff. Then, before the Playboy Battle Royal, we have Molly Holly coming out in her anti-diva gimmick and refusing to be part of the match. And then the special referee for the match, Carlito Cool, comes down and says, that's not very cool. So he brings out Shaniqua, who basically nails Molly Holly with a clothesline and throws her out of the ring to the cheers of the crowd, because this is a 2006 crowd who wants, all the girls in, basically Playboy outfits for the Battle Royal. And this gets a 65. So then we have the actual Playboy Battle Royal, which involves Beth Phoenix, Christy Cummings, aka Christy Ritchie, Elizabeth Love, Jackie Gata, Jamie Keys, Jillian Hall, Shaniqua, Chantel Fierce, aka, I forgot her real name, Taylor Wilde, and Veronica Vane, aka, Jordan Cole from our version of WCW, but I think it was Chrissy Vane was her real name. And they're all here, and this is a, very 2006 era Divas Battle Royal. And the final four were Veronica Vane, Chantel Fierce, Jackie Gate, and Beth Phoenix. And Fierce is the final elimination as Veronica Vane wins. Honestly, I just looked who was the highest sex appeal, which is how WWF would actually book this. Oh, actually, I think what happens here is it looks like Shantier's. No, actually, yeah, Veronica Vane wins. Crowley was just there because I want him on the show, so he doesn't really get involved. This gets a 68 overall. Yeah, it is what it is. As we end here, 68. Yeah, nothing really much of note. Let me see. Was there anything really pointed out here? Nope. And then post match, Veronica Vane celebrates to a 54, and there we go. Now it's time for the semi-main event. It's Kane, it's Undertaker, but this time the roles are reversed. As basically Taker turned heel after SummerSlam when he lost to Randy Orton. Basically like becoming heel MMA Taker, as you can see. Then Kane, who was part of Gauzer Bruja, was also told kneel at Armageddon. He turned face. Eventually, Kane then Taker cross pass. Taker, said you be the Brothers of Destruction. Kane chokeslammed him. And then you saw the basically angles prior to this where Kane, Taker actually buried Kane alive, but in sort of a horror movie style at the end of the SmackDown. Kane put his hands up through the dirt. And now we're here at WrestleMania. It's Kane, it's Taker. Can Kane end the Undertaker streak? So that VTR gets a 72. Then we have the Undertaker's entrance, which gets an 86. I'm imagining some sort of mix of not quite big evil Taker, but still he comes down looking scary but serious, more realistic. So no druids or anything. But figure it out. This gets an 86. Then we're on to the actual match. And okay, not bad actually. So back and forth match. It's Undertaker and Kane 2006. I'm sure you've seen this before. It is what it is. We get some tombstone reversals. But also, actually, Kane hits a tombstone on Taker. Taker kicks out. Taker hits a choke slam, gets a near fall. But eventually, Kane goes for a choke slam late. And the Undertaker turns it into the Hell's Gate submission move. Because again, this is MA Taker. And he locks it in. And Kane has to, eventually the ref calls for the bell as the Undertaker defeats Kane here at WrestleMania. The match itself is pretty solid. Kane's Kane, so he only gets a 70, but Taker gets an 89, gets an 83 overall, which honestly is better than I expected. And post-match, The Undertaker kneels as he's now 14-0 at WrestleMania. So this gets a 70, good stuff. As we move forward to our main event. So, this VTR starts out with basically, Chris Jericho's debut back in 1999. And then, shows as Michaels, we cut in segments for basically a Shawn Michaels heel promo in the build up to this, saying, Jericho's gotten chance after chance as the video shows, him losing title shots in 2003 to Kurt Angle, losing a dog collar match to Brock Lesnar in 2004, being part of the WrestleMania 19 main event with Michaels and Benoit, losing a ladder match at Survivor Series 2005 to Edge. And then, we see then clips of the Rumble where Big Show basically turns on Chris Jericho, but Jericho's able to eliminate him and win the Royal Rumble, basically turning face. And then we see the build-up as, Michaels has DX 2.0, Punk and Lyon going after him, and also has Big Show, who has a heel. But, Jericho's fighting as, we see Michaels, say, you were supposed to be the next generation in WWE, Jericho, but you're a failure. I think it's 5-time world champion, and you've never even, sniffed this title, because I'm still the icon, I'm still the showstopper, you're the main eventer, and you're just another wannabe Shawn Michaels. Jericho fires back with his typical Jericho stuff, and there we go. Main event. Chris Jericho. Can he finally win the big one? Because in this version of reality, Jericho has never been world champion. He's done lots of shots, but he has never been champion. Probably doesn't help, there's only one title. And Shawn Michaels, of course, I don't know if you're coming across this, Michaels turned heel after winning the title, sort of in desperation of trying to keep the title, and had Punk and Lyon as backup. And now we're on to the main event. This VTR gets a 74. Jericho, then we see Fozzy playing, and Jericho rises up singing, I think it's Enemy was their big song at this point. And then he comes down to the ring to an 84. Then we have the Shawn Michaels Messiah entrance, which I'm sure I might have actually said he's done before, but it's a great entrance, so you can do it twice. So, comes down, choral music playing, then he rips off his white outfit, to his, as DX hits and he comes out. And then we're on to the match itself. Okay. Not as good as I wanted, unfortunately. Let me see here. Sorry, I know I shouldn't, fuck. Badly burned out crowd. Okay. But no, I didn't do, hold on. I did the sex appeal match to, I don't feel that bad. Okay. Again, me booking, that's weird. I mean, so I booked this as a spectacle, and that's what it is. Like, this is Jericho Michaels, every great match this time period. Slow build, Michaels being a heel, just being his old jackass self, Jericho fighting from underneath, eventually big moves, locking in the walls of Jericho, but Michaels kicks out of it. Michaels hitting the super kick, but Jericho kicking out. Jericho actually hitting the SI moonsault for a near fall, trying to lock in the walls of Jericho again, but Michaels pushes him off. Jericho actually locking the sharpshooter to the boos of the crowd, but Jericho getting to the ropes. Jericho then hitting the codebreaker, but getting a near fall, back and forth. Eventually, Michaels goes for the sharpshooter again. Jericho turns it into a small package for a near fall. Brawl back and forth. Eventually, Jericho nails Shawn Michaels with a super kick of his own, and then he locks in the sharpshooter, but Michaels barely gets to the ropes. Back and forth. Codebreaker again. 1, 2, 3. Your winner and new WF World Heavyweight Champion is Chris Jericho. Unfortunately, the match only got an 85 because there was a badly burned out crowd, but Michaels gets 100, Jericho gets a 94. Bad color commentator, but match got the crowd buzzing. So I had it booked as a spectacle because both these guys are great psychology. Slow build. So there you go. Unfortunately, I'm kind of upset I didn't get a great match book for them, but shit happens. What can you do? And then post-match, the Canadians celebrate on the show as we have Edge and Benoit, both babyfaces, come out here and celebrate. As I started to realize this as I was booking the show. There's in Detroit, which means it's right across the river from Canada. So, Canadians can celebrate with probably a bigger Canadian crowd than usual, as Chris Jericho has joined Edge and Benoit as former world champions. And overall, the show itself gets us a 93. Okay, so, I threw in the usual stuff you do for Mania to boost the crowd. So, who do I want to give positives to? Okay, let's see here. What was better than I thought it was going to be? Honestly, yeah, Batista, okay. Yeah, okay, so Batista, you are great. Honestly, CM Punk, you are great. And hey, Shawn Michaels, you didn't whine about losing. So there we go. Batista seems pleased, Punk seems pleased, Michael seems pleased. And I'll be back in just a moment with some post-match, with some post-show stuff. So we're back. Let me just check out. Okay, so Mania gets a 93. Let's see here. Let me do my other booking. So last year SummerSlam got a 98. Okay. I guess Michael's Triple H is better. Okay, yeah. And then Mania itself got an 87. And then if I go farther back, SummerSlam. Okay, Mania gets a 91. SummerSlam gets a 93. Okay, so not too bad. So again, just to go over things, your world champion for the first time is Chris Jericho. WWE World Tag Team Champions are Farouk and Bradshaw. I'm tempted to have to strip them of the titles and see what the game does to replace them. Your Intercontinental Champion is Christian for the third time, and your Women's Champion for the second time is the Angel Oscura. If we go into the creative for them, so it's Michaels, Lesnar, Jericho, Taker, Benoit. Next big things is Cena, Punk, Vane, Molly Holly, Carlito, Cool. Hot prospects is Cena, Cade, Vane, Punk, Phoenix. Who's not? Okay, nobody who's hot. Molly, Taker, Carnival, Jericho, Benoit. All right, cool. Let's see here. What else did I want to show you guys? Figurehead. Okay. Interesting. So they don't have a figurehead, which makes sense. Yeah. So the thing is, there's nobody really for them at the moment, which is interesting. Anyway, so stables wise, let's see here. Acolytes, DX. Yeah. All right. Just for so Jericho's your number one merch guy, then Michaels, Austin, Edge, Benoit, Show, Batista, Steiner. Okay, let me just go look over some guys here. So roster wise, let's limit this to main eventers because I just want to see if there's anything big here. Okay, so Big Show's Big Show's stupidly over, and he'll probably continue to be. Brock Lesnar, like all hundreds, it's ridiculous. Benoit, let's see, he was an 86 before this. Let's see here. So still an 86, might be his pop cap. Jericho, let's see here. Jericho, did you get up points? Okay, no, still 93, which might be your pop cap. Michaels, did you drop a bit from here? Okay, you dropped 2 points for dropping to main event at WrestleMania, which makes sense. Taker, let's see, did Taker gain any points from winning? No, he's the same. Oh no, actually he gained a point. I keep hearing there was a changeover, so actually let me go back and check that again. Popularity, track progress. Nope, still 93. And let me double check with yeah, that's all. So yeah, that's sort of like, you know, they need some new blood, I guess. I think star wise. Okay, so Batista. So yeah, he's getting like really over. If the game books him decently, he might be in line for like a possible title shot at SummerSlam. Edge came back, like, super over. Only reason he isn't a major star, I think, is the momentum. So, yeah, he's still a 95, so hopefully the game will book him right. JBL, let's see here. Did he lose anything? No, still an 84. Actually gained a point from winning. Let's see. Molly Holly, still stupidly over. Vampiro, did you lose anything from doing the job to... Okay, no, he actually gained a point. And William Regal, who's also, like, really much more over than he was in real life. No, he gained a point as well. Okay, interesting. So if we go down to the well-knowns. Billy Gunn. Let's see. Billy Gunn. Yeah, he's 70, I think, is his pop cap. Carnival, did you get any big points from winning at Mania? Okay. 5 points. That's pretty good. 72 might be his pop cap. Let's see. Christian, did you gain anything by winning? No. Okay. Also, this is sad, but he and Edge are no longer friends. DDP still, like, stupidly over for being, like, but here's the problem with DDP, is, like, yeah, he's getting 657s in game. So despite being that over, that shows how bad he is in ring. Jack DeGata, let's see here. She's about the same. Kane, did you lose anything by jobbing to our friend? No, okay. Foley, did you lose anything from jobbing? I think he's just this low because he's not really a worker. He lost a point. Let's see here. Gladiator, did you lose anything jobbing to Brock? No, you're actually up a couple points, which makes sense. And last but not least, I think I'll double check anybody here. Let's see here. Recognizable people. Okay, so Punk's up. Okay, yeah, Punk's up a couple points by being part in big matches. Let's see here. Justice, did you gain any points by beating your friend and mine? Okay, so he's up about 5 to 7 points from beating Foley, so that's good. Lionel Michael Murray, again, he's, yeah. And also, I think we were helped because they're, like, weirdly over in the Great Lakes, I think, from OVW or one of them. I think that's it. Oh, let me just check out for, like, Veronica, did you gain any overness by winning at Mania in a IKD match? Survey says, okay, a couple points. And let's see, is there anybody unimportant here who I care about? L'Angel Obscura, did you gain anything from winning at Mania? 5 points. We'll see how quickly the game drops you out because you're not that over. But yeah. So, that's pretty much it here. You know, this is, I think, a shorter video than my last Mania, probably because I did a little bit of stuff, or it might be about the same. I'd have to double check. But yeah, you know, next up will be our typical thing where we go over, where we're back on the grind with WCW after this, as we continue the build to Wrestle War. And next thing up will be, as far as this, I will be taking you for Impact for their April show, Destination X. And then this for SummerSlam, maybe again for Impact before that, just because people have liked it when I take over for Impact, just to sort of fix them, especially with Triple H in charge over there and dealing with Hogan. But yeah, that's it. If you enjoy this, go and have a like, comment below what you're liking, not liking, and subscribe to the channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content, and maybe some other stuff eventually, but that's it for now. So talk to you later, and adios. Have a good one.